All right, for today's video review, we're going to be taking a look at yet another figure from the Transformers Buzzworthy Bumblebee Creatures Collide 4-pack, and this time around we are taking a look at Skywasp. Now this is a kind of an interesting figure with a neat little history. So basically what this figure is meant to be homaging is a couple different things. Back in the early 2000s in the Universe toy line, there were some unused, like canceled planned sets that were going to be Walmart exclusive kind of value packs that were some like basically repaints of Beast Wars figures for the most part, called the Halloween Horror Cons. And one of those figures was a sort of similar color scheme to this, which was a repaint of the actually the Transmetal version of the Waspinator toy from the Beast Wars toy line. And that was packed with Night Prowler, and you know, if you've been keeping up with recent toys, we recently just got Night Prowler as a Walmart exclusive along with Buzzsaw and Sandstorm. So now that's pretty cool. But yeah, the other figure in that set I think was just originally marketed as Waspinator, but basically it was this kind of black, purple, and red repaint of the Transmetal Waspinator. And then fast forward a few years to I want to say 2015, there was a BotCon set that had a 4-pack that were basically just like 4 repaints of the Thrilling 30 Waspinator mold, and just in a bunch of different color schemes, homaging a lot of different kind of like very niche, obscure things. And one of those was in this kind of color scheme, and that figure was called Parasite. So now, fast forward to now, we've got in this Buzzworthy Bumblebee pack, we have this figure who is basically homaging both of those. I mean, you know, it's kind of homaging the original Halloween Horror Con color scheme, and the BotCon, you know, color scheme was homaging that as well. But the original Halloween Horror Con didn't have a name, so, you know, Parasite became its own character. So this is kind of referencing that, but I guess they didn't have the trademark on Parasite, so they decided to name him Skywasp, which I think works really well as a name for this figure, because like ostensibly it is, you know, a Waspinator repaint in Skywarp colors. So I think that's a really clever kind of just one letter shift from Skywarp to Skywasp. I think that's a really funny joke, and I appreciate that. So, you know, it could be Parasite in your collections. It could even just be Waspinator from the Halloween Horror Cons, or it could be Skywasp. I think any of the names work pretty well. But yeah, no, it's a really nice looking color scheme. I think that this mold definitely suits the black, the purple, and the red and the gold. I think it all looks really nice. I think that especially the translucent red on the wings, I think works really well. Has a nice kind of black and gold back section here. Otherwise, it's pretty much the exact same mold as the Waspinator mold, just new colors in terms of articulation in this mode. The head can hinge up and down, and I'll talk about that. The little mandibles can open and close, and the little antenna can swivel around. The front legs here are on swivels on each side, and then the back legs are just one solid piece, so they're also on swivels together. And then the wings are on ball joints, but that's about it. One issue I do have with this figure is, for some reason, the tab connection, where, you know, these little tabs are supposed to hook around these little tabs in there, it's not as tight as the other two versions of this mold that I have. So as a result, it tends to come undone a lot easier, which is kind of a bummer. It's not the end of the world when it's just sitting flat on the ground, but it definitely is a bit annoying when you're messing around with the figure. But yeah, you know, it's not too big a deal, especially since I'm probably going to display him in robot mode anyway, but it is a bit annoying. In terms of comparisons, here he is just for the standard one with Kingdom Sideswipe, just so you can see what he looks like next to an average size Deluxe there. Just for fun here he is with Earthrise Skywarp, just because, you know, he's kind of using the Skywarp colors. They're obviously a bit more red than the Skywarp color scheme, but still, I think that looks pretty cool. And then here he is with his original mold mate, the original Kingdom Waspinator, just so you can see some of the differences in the color scheme there. He much more like closely follows the color scheme layout of Waspinator than Buzzsaw did, especially in this mode. Like, it's got, you know, all the painted stripes on the bottom there, whereas a Buzzsaw had a few of those missing in lieu of other paint apps. But, you know, they look good together. And then the other thing to talk about for this figure, which is really much more relevant in robot mode, is that 3 out of the 4 figures in this pack actually come with alternate head sculpts, which is pretty cool. The one that he's got on there by default is just the same exact head sculpt as Waspinator, but he also does come with the Buzzsaw head if you'd prefer that look. For me, I mean, the original Halloween HorrorCon that I was originally homaging was using the Transmetal Waspinator sculpt, which obviously had a very Waspinator looking head, and then the BotCon pack that it's also homaging also just used the Thurling 30 Waspinator mold. So pretty much every version of this character that's existed prior has had a Waspinator head, so that's probably the one I'm going to keep on there, but it is nice to have a different version of the Buzzsaw head too as an option. But yeah, in terms of transformation, obviously he's just the exact same as Waspinator and Buzzsaw. You just want to unfold the feet right here and then untab them from the arms, which again on this figure is it's too loose of a connection, and then just fold these down just like that. Then what do you want to do here? For this section, you want to unclip. This is still a really tight connection that you kind of have to like pry up, which is, it's just the connection is too tight for this figure. But you want to unclip this purple section from the back here, and it's really not very easy to do, to be honest. Like, you have to get a good amount of leverage on it and then pull at it from the right direction. And even then, it is a real pain. Come on. Yeah, this did not need to be this tight of a connection. Okay, hold on. I'm going to have to take this off camera. All right, that was a pain and is a problem with the figure because that's way too tight. But yeah, then you want to rotate this section around, and this little tab right here is going to actually slide into this section right here. And you want to slide that in just because if you just pull it straight out, then you're kind of like, you know, grinding down the tab over time, which is going to make this connection looser. So because you can slide it in, that is the better thing to do. And then you just want to bring the legs straight down. Unfold the feet here and the heels, just like that, flatten it out. You want to take the 2 bug legs here and rotate them to the back of the leg. Then for the upper body here, you just want to untab the arms, for they plug into this little armature right here with this little hole that you probably can't see because of the color of the plastic. And then fold it out to the side, straighten out the arms, rotate the hands forward, and then rotate this bug leg to kind of just sit up like that. I mean, you can have it sit however you want, but that's the way it sits out of the way the best. And then just do that on both sides, and then take the bug head here, and it'll untab from this section, and it'll fold down on a double hinge, which you then fold back up so that these 2 little tabs will go into 2 little slots in there. You want to kind of like angle it in to get that connection solid. Then you can just split the bug head on both sides. The slider on this one is kind of tight, which is, I guess, nice, so it stays in place, but it does mean it needs a little bit of extra effort there. And then just fold that into the body and rotate up the antenna, and there you have Skywasp in his robot mode. And yeah, it's a pretty nice looking color scheme. I definitely think that that Waspinator wears the Skywarpy colors pretty well. Here's what his head sculpt looks like. Unfortunately, mine has a little bit of a paint blemish there, but otherwise still looks good. I definitely think the purple, gold, and red really pops on this guy. Even though, you know, it's not quite Skywarpy in that it's got a lot of red detail, which Skywarp doesn't have, but it definitely does add a lot of extra flair to the figure. But yeah, no, in terms of articulation, obviously he's the exact same as every other version of this mold. The head is on a ball joint, so you can rotate it around and then kind of give it a good amount of ankle tilt, of neck tilt back and forth. That's not his ankle. The shoulders here are on swivels and then a hinge out to the side. He's got a bicep swivel, about 90 degrees of bend at the elbow there. Wrist swivel for transformation. He does have a waist joint, but it doesn't like really go 360 degrees, and his mandibles kind of bump in the way a little bit, but it can rotate his waist slightly. And then for the hips here, they can go forward, back, out to the side. He's got a thigh swivel, about 90 degrees of bend at the knee and ankle tilt, and then the heel can also, the feet can kind of bend forward and back with or without the heel there. It can bend a little bit back when you've got the heel pressed up like that, but it can't really tilt that far forward. But then you can just tilt the heel forward to kind of approximate that. It works well enough. But yeah, like other versions of this mold, it is kind of annoying that the bug legs kind of bump into each other. They don't quite get out of the way the best that they could have, but it's not too big of an issue. Obviously, you can pose the wings however you want to. They're just obviously still on ball joints, so you could do it up like that if you wanted a little bit of a difference there in how he looks compared to Waspinator. Or if you have Waspinator's wings up, then you could leave his down, whichever. He still has his little butt gun here that you just fold out of the back there, or just unpeg it rather, and he can hold his little stinger as a weapon here, which is really nice. I definitely appreciate when the weapon for robot mode can store seamlessly in both modes, and just because of the the virtue of the original Waspinator design, that is usually the case on Waspinator figures. But yeah, no, he looks pretty good in terms of size comparisons. Just for the standard one, here he is again with Kingdom Sideswipe. So you can see, this mold is a little bit shorter than an average size Deluxe, but not by too much. Here he is again with Earthrise Skywarp, just so you can see where the bug and the plain version of this color scheme, how they look together. Definitely more gold than silver, but still, I think they look pretty cool together. Here he is again with Kingdom Waspinator, and then we'll bring on Legacy Buzzsaw here as well, just so you can see the difference in the color schemes there. Take a look at the different layouts of the head sculpt there with the Waspinator one, and then we can also show off the how they did the buzzsaw head differently too. A bit more paint on there than the actual. It's kind of hard to hold there. Than the actual buzzsaw. Actually, I think that that actually looks a little bit better. Maybe because it's purple, I think it would match with him too. So you could, if you wanted to, swap this head sculpt off for this one. I think that might look pretty good. Actually, he wouldn't have the right color eyes there, but it's possible maybe to do a little bit of surgery, switch out the eyes for this one. I don't know. I might try that out at some point, but that's what they look like together. And then last but not least, here he is again with the other two that we've checked out so far, with Ransack and Golbug here, building up our little bug army. And yeah, I think is another nice figure in this set. It's probably, like, if this was an individual release, I probably would have passed on this guy if I could have just, bought these guys instead. But now that I have him, it is a nice looking color scheme, and I do think it is a good looking figure. It's just probably one that I might have passed on otherwise, but that's okay. I think it's at least not something that I just straight up didn't want being stuck in this box set together. I think it's cool to own. It's just maybe something I would have passed out on otherwise. But yeah, I think it's a nice looking figure regardless. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to him. If you enjoy my videos, make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing. I do reviews every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, and our next review is going to be the last figure in this 4-pack. So look forward to that. But yeah, without further ado, here we have Transformers Buzzworthy Bumblebee Creatures Collide Skywasp.